Finally, a year into the pandemic, COVID vaccines are offering a way out. And in a world anxious to get them, China sees something else: opportunity. The chance to win friends and build goodwill by providing Chinese vaccines to countries that want or need them. Vaccine diplomacy as a way to help polish China's image, not as a target for criticism of how it handled the pandemic, but a savior to lead the world out of it and to lay down credentials as a global vaccine supplier.
China has really tried aggressively to enter this space in this pandemic, both to reverse the narrative about itself in this pandemic, but also to put itself as an innovator and a country that can master this technology.
The main players in China's vaccine pipeline are state-owned Sinopharm and its subsidiary CNBG, and Sinovac, which is a private company. For months, they've been scaling up and churning out. We're going inside the packaging facility. Sinopharm says it will put out 1 billion doses this year alone to vaccinate not only China's population, but potentially much of the world that's been shut out by wealthier nations like the U.S. that are stockpiling supplies from Pfizer, Moderna, and AstraZeneca. Which is fine by Yang Xiaoming. He's the chairman of CNBG, Sinopharm's vaccine business. There's an old saying in China that we go through thick and thin with our friends, he told me in an interview. The pandemic is a global concern, so we should work together to deal with it. China isn't the only country trying out vaccine diplomacy. Russia and India are also pushing their homegrown vaccines. But China appears to have the reach, offering what it calls vaccine aid to 53 countries. In some cases, offering low-cost doses and financing loans to purchase them. In Africa, they're also investing in building production and storage facilities to allow for easier distribution of Chinese doses. And so Chinese vaccines have been fanning out to Pakistan, to Zimbabwe, to Equatorial Guinea, Cambodia, Morocco, Senegal, Serbia, Hungary, Egypt, Brunei, Philippines. Deliveries are met with ceremonies, and praise for China is part of the deal.
Xie to the Chinese government and people.
They've tended to target the same countries that China has targeted for other diplomatic and strategic and economic purposes, not where the crisis is the largest.
While Western vaccines get most of the headlines, Chinese vaccines are more traditionally made and don't require fancy refrigeration. China has pledged 500 million doses so far to 45 countries, according to the Associated Press. And the expectation is that orders will keep rolling in as countries try to make up shortfalls. Take Chile, for example. Chinese vaccines have made it an outlier in Latin America, where COVID is still rampant. The country's immunization program is pretty much in line with the U.S. and U.K., and it's outpacing the European Union. When doses started to arrive, Chile's president was there, hailing it as a day of joy, emotion, and hope. Chile's secret to that hope? Early negotiations that tapped into the country's trade ties and contacts, which led to China. And Chile partnered with Sinovac for clinical trials. Yinwei Dong is the CEO of Sinovac. He says competitiveness should serve for solving the more important problems, such as the global pandemic and the global shortage of vaccines. But the looming question is less about the politics of Chinese vaccine diplomacy than the actual vaccines. They're safe, according to the companies making them, but there is a lack of public data on them. And with that, skepticism and a lack of trust.
We actually don't know a lot about these vaccines, and they have not been independently vetted by a stringent national regulatory authority. So that worries me.
Here in China, vaccinations actually started a while back, like last July. I feel good. I don't have any side effects, he says. China is good now. We don't have a huge number of infections, says Dr. Zheng Hongwei, who explained that for a lot of people, it just doesn't feel as urgent. China is adding a new dimension, announcing it will streamline visa applications for people wanting to travel to China if they've had a Chinese vaccine. Pfizer or any other dose doesn't count. At this point, the U.S. isn't considering approval for any of the Chinese vaccines, though for much of the world, they could be their best and only shot.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.